the podcast that finishes your workday in a very Red Raider way. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3.
Hi, how are you? Good afternoon. It's Tech Talk on Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com with Mike Gustafson and Clint Scott. I'm Aaron Dickens. We're joining you today until 6 o'clock. We'll have Red Raider football with Joey McGuire coming up at that point. It's the third of 11 such installments this football season. And the guests today on the show, along with, of course, Joey McGuire, the offensive coordinator, and Donovan Smith. Clint, are you excited to hear from Zach Kittley this evening?
I am. I think he's always a good quote. I'm really excited to hear Donovan Smith. I thought he was really good post game, as far as just kind of, not that you want to hear excuses at all, but he didn't make any. Owned it up. I thought he was very level headed, very self aware too. So I'm excited to hear from him.
I feel like self awareness is maybe one of the most important life traits just in general.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, can't argue with that.
Love to get your thoughts and comments in the Yates Flooring Center chat line. You can access that at doublet973.com. You can also pull that up on the Double T 97.3 mobile app presented by Happy State Bank. Gus, you and I discussed this a little bit yesterday. Wish this microphone thing would stay in one place. Really cramping my style. You and I discussed this a bit yesterday. There was a report out from a New York Post sports media columnist who reported in a podcast. And again, this kind of goes back to what we talked about a few weeks ago, right? Where if you are writing a story and, reporting in bold letters something, whether it's TV contract, free agent signing, political scoop, whatever it is, you have to have all of your I's dotted, your T's crossed. That has to be worked through with editors. Depending on the magnitude of the story, you might need to, share your source with your, managing editor or whatever. A lot more formal, like a lot more kind of hoops to jump through. Mm-hmm. Because once it's on, paper, or in print, you can't take that back. There's no massaging that. You can't say, oh, well, you took me out of context, whatever. When you're on a podcast, right, or if you're doing a radio interview or a TV interview, you can be a bit more loose. There's no editor staring over your shoulder going, oh, no, you can't say that, or no, you don't have two separate sources that can, whatever. And so this was, again, reported on a podcast that the folks at the Pac-12 and ESPN were hundreds of millions of dollars apart, right? We talked about that a bit yesterday. There is a report now from, I believe, frontofficesports.com that says that the Pac-12 now potentially eyeing a deal with Amazon.
Well, we're about to find out. It begins tonight with this is the first of many Amazon-only Thursday night games, mm-hmm. and I would think a fairly relevant game. It's a good division matchup. Our very own Patrick Mahomes. How this is going to play out? How many people haven't given it much thought? This is on Amazon. You're not going to go home and just flip on the old cable box or dial up your streaming or whatever. Go, wait, it's not on here. Like, this is its own deal. It's its own scratch or its own money.
I am curious. And folks are out there, let us know on the chat line. Are you going to be firing up Amazon Prime to watch this tonight? Is this going to alter your viewing habits?
I'm curious about that. We've got Amazon Prime, and so I guess I can. I probably will dial it in long enough to go, oh, all right, I've got this. How's the broadcast look? Whatever. You know, I'll probably be drifting around though. I could see me putting one on one screen and then getting some DVR stuff on the other or whatever. You know, I got stuff to catch up on.
Because that's the real question here. It's not whether or not Chargers fans will find a way to tune in, or if Chiefs fans will find a way to tune in. And I count folks here as essentially Chiefs fans because they're watching for Pat. But what about the kind of unaffiliated person in, you know, Fort Lauderdale, right? Or, you know, Atlanta.
That's what the NFL has mastered, by the way, is the national fan. The person who goes, there's a game on, click. Because a lot of sports have the regional following. You know, all the Chicago people watch the Cubs. All the Dallas people watch the Mavericks games. All the, you know, that kind of, that's, you know, a big part of it is what you do to capture your own market. But how much national following is there for these things? The NFL has mastered that, and that's the key to your question.
Right, and it has mastered that, but can that mastery survive an extra layer of, I guess, hassle, for lack of a better term?
And cash.
True.
I mean, you know, it's not just a matter of clicking on the button and voila, hey, I just needed to download that app. No, and lay out whatever it is. I don't know what it costs, $100 a year, 100.
I think it seems to kind of go up every couple of years, but it's around there. It's less. It's like 120 or something.
Yeah, and this is for the Prime, so you can do shopping. I mean, and that's a big part of the plan here. The idea is if you're not already, you get it so you can watch the Chiefs games tonight. Oh, hey, look, I can go shopping on there and get free shipping, either to my house or my office or to this Amazon little store thing over here by campus in a day.
You ever do that?
Yeah, I actually did it last night. I had Amazon written on my
I was
palm
wondering
in
what that was.
Sharpie.
I saw that yesterday.
And the reason for it was I needed to pick this up because I needed a weirdo piece that fell off my weed whacker. And so I was that guy like, dude, sorry, my weed whacker's fixed. But
Why
you
does
know,
your
like,
left hand say chimneys today?
yeah, exactly. What are all the little bracelets with the tequila breath? No, yeah, all the black X's on my hand that I've. Some of the underage people in my life taught me how they rub those off. Black
Was
X's.
that a proud moment for you, or was that?
It's kind of mixed.
Yeah.
I'll be interested in how you react at that someday. Like there's a barrier that you cross with your kids. You know, there's the point at which probably still at your bonus kids age where you're like, knock that crap off or whatever. But then later on you start going, you know, and you don't want to you don't go too far that other direction.
Yeah.
Like here's a keg, you 16-year-olds have fun, not, you know. But there's a point when they get to college and they're like, hey, I snuck into this bar last night.
I feel like that
or whatever.
transition partly happens somewhere around the time that they leave the house.
Yeah, there's some. Yeah, that's exactly. But when that line comes, it's like I can't fully endorse this, but I can chuckle at it. And you know, when daughter, of course, we're all 21 now, right? So we're all good. But you know, when she showed if you take the little scrunchy thing off, you can rub the Sharpie off your back of your hand. Like, okay, all right. Let's make good decisions. I mean, and it does come back to like, let's make good decisions here. This is parenting 101.
There you go. We went from media rights to basically an Amazon Prime infomercial to now making good decisions, parenting advice. You never know what we'll get into here on Tech Talk.
That's right.
More excellence coming up next on Double T 97.3.
The podcast that finishes your workday in a very Red Raider way. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3.
Hey, it's the Juice on Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com. Brought to you by our good friends at Specs Wine, Spirits, and Finer Foods. 2 convenient locations here in Lubbock, 4th Street in the West Loop behind the Whataburger, and also Slide Road and 69th Street. You can also go all the time, always, specsonline.com. Time for some headlines. Rangers are off today after losing yesterday in excruciating fashion to the Oakland A's, 8-7. Rangers allowed 2 runs in the 9th. had an error off of Corey Seager. Helped further that along. Rangers now 62-81, 31 games back of the first place Houston Astros. They'll open up a series against the Tampa Bay Rays tomorrow, 6:10 first pitch Friday, there in Florida. We'll have Red Raider football with Joey McGuire tonight, live from 6 to 7 here on Double T 97.3. Third of 11 broadcasts this season. McGuire will be joined tonight by offensive coordinator Zach Kittley and quarterback Donovan Smith. If you are outside of our listening area, you can also listen in via Big 12 Now on ESPN Plus or the Varsity Network app. NFL continues tonight as the Kansas City Chiefs will host the LA Chargers this evening in Kansas City. 7:15 is when the game is set to kick off. Chiefs are about a 4-point favorite. We'll have the game for you here on Double T 97.3. That coverage will start at 7 o'clock, so you'll pretty much skip all the pregame and go right to the on-field action. And as we were discussing earlier, this game will be televised, and that's maybe not even the best way to describe it, but video will be provided by Amazon Prime. An overwhelming majority of Division I ADs at their annual meeting yesterday expressed a, quote, strong preference to keep FBS football under the NCAA if it can be more streamlined and less bureaucratic. You too can join the program. We'd love to hear from you today. Let us know what you think on the Yates Flooring Center chat line at Double T 97.3. All guests appear via the Benchmark hotline. This on the chat line. We were discussing how tonight's NFL game is on Amazon Prime, and that's the norm now moving forward. I mean, get used to it. And we asked, all right, I mean, for folks out there that have typically watched Thursday night football games, does this change your habits in any way? T-Money 806 says this on the chat line. Not at all. Get off my lawn. If it's not streaming through the free airwaves to my HD antenna, I do not partake. Somebody else says this. I do not have Prime and won't get it just for a couple of games. I have Prime, so of course I'll watch it, but I wouldn't pay extra for it if I didn't already have that platform. Somebody asks, is this a Prime infomercial? No, but I would love some Jeff Bezos money. Just throwing that out there into the ether.
No.
If you're listening, Jeff B., I mean, hook us up, or just, you know what? I'll settle for a space trip. Take me to space.
Yeah, I don't think you and I were vouching for the Amazon per se. Other than if you want to watch a game, you got to pony up. I think the conversation drifted over to or where we drifted offline was where the model for Amazon is very much about if for those who aren't already Amazon Prime people, which is, whatever, is you go get the deal because you want to watch 15 football games, 15 Thursday football games, I believe is the number, and then you stumble across the fact that, oh, hey, I can get on Amazon and buy crap and get free shipping and all that. That's all. It was an explanation of Amazon's model for why Amazon would be interested in getting televised sports, because they don't need help in the online shopping department. They got that mastered.
Is this because I don't know? Like,
if I may, I think it falls under the Conquer the World banner.
Probably.
Go ahead.
Yeah, them and Pinky in the Brain. I can already see the gears working in Clint's head there. I don't know that this is going to cause just a whole bunch of people that didn't have Prime already to go sign up. I'm sure there are some, right? But I don't know that it is some kind of like overwhelming number. This to me is more about like adding value from their perspective. Hey, let's add value to this subscription so that more people stick with it, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Whereas I think that maybe if I didn't have Prime already, I don't know that I would rush out and get it for, as you said, 15 football games. Number one, the football team that I kind of grew up rooting for, that is played in the city in which I grew up, sucks. I mean, it's terrible. I'm totally ambivalent when I watch the Texans.
You were yelling that at yourself right there, right? Not just Steve.
And, if you don't watch the game on Thursday, typically there's a college football game to watch too, right? We're still in the middle of baseball season, even though the Rangers are off tonight. And then, hell, there's going to be plenty of NFL games on Sunday and then one on Monday that I can watch. So I don't know that I would rush out to get it. But I think that I would be more likely to pick up Prime for like a scripted series that was, receiving rave reviews, right? Like, to me, that would be more something that would get me to jump off and take the plunge than just some live sports, which, I mean, maybe I'm kind of an outlier here.
So along those lines, I pick up the little piece for my weed whacker thing that I ran over to the little pickup place over here. It's one of those little padded envelopes,
sure,
about the size of a sheet of paper. And it's not just the, Amazon crap on the envelope, the little sort of watermark type faded logo. This envelope had all over it the is it the Hobbit show that J.R.R. Tolkien?
Yeah, Rings of Power.
Yeah, it had the Rings of Power stuff all over it, and I thought, isn't this interesting? So how long before Amazon, an envelope like that has an NFL logo, Thursday Night Football, blah blah blah, or Pac-12 football, or especially if there was a regional, anything shipped to the West Coast.
That's to bring it back to kind of the area where I think we're all more interested in. Mm-hmm. Although, if we want to talk about Rings of Power, I'm game. Although I haven't watched it yet.
It'll be a one-sided conversation. I'm all here though.
It's the same thing with the Pac-12, right? I mean, if you're not a Chiefs fan or a Patrick Mahomes fan or a Chargers fan, are you going to go seek out this game? And the same thing can be said for virtually every Pac-12 game, right? If you aren't directly interested or involved, heck, even if you're a Pac-12 person, right? Say you're a Arizona fan and, Oregon is playing Cal. You going to go dedicate your television or one of your screens to that game versus firing up your cable or your antenna or your Hulu TV or YouTube TV, whatever it is, to where you can flip around, right? Or watch some kind of like, picture-in-picture situation. I don't think so, man. And that's the I don't know, dangerous part about a conference diving in with Amazon. Now, if Amazon's paying you a ton of money, it doesn't matter, right? But if it's some kind of value deal, I don't know that you're going to come out a winner there.
And I wonder what the and we talked about data back in August when there was a magic. Well, it was in July actually. I think it was reported in August, but the Nielsen, whatever that is, rating system, whatever. It used to be a ratings box for traditional TV, but in July, Nielsen reported that streaming services hit the long-anticipated milestone, which is that streaming accounted for 34.8% of all TV consumed, passing cable's 34.4%, and then broadcast TV at 21%, and then 9% from other sources. And so there are more people probably equipped to deal with this now than ever before, but it still doesn't answer the question.
Podcast put together with Red Raider fans in mind. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3.
Hey, good afternoon. It's Tech Talk on Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com with Mike Gustafson and Clint Scott. I'm Aaron Dickens. We're joining you today until 6 o'clock. We'd love to hear your thoughts and comments on the Yates Flooring Center chat line at Double T 97.3.com. We'll have Red Raider football with Joey McGuire coming up at that time. third of 11 broadcast, he'll also be joined by offensive coordinator Zach Kittley and quarterback Donovan Smith. Chris says this on the chat line. I'm not going to download Amazon Prime unless there is a Texas Tech reason. If I had Prime, I would watch. He also says, I do hope for the day when everything is streaming because I hate cable. This on the chat line. This is from T-Money806. Wasn't the NFL Red Zone that model at first? Had to pay to get it. No one paid, so they bundled it with something. Maybe it's the NFL Network, and now if you are with a certain cell carrier, you get it free. Seems like folks are willing to pay extra for sports as much as movies and big TV shows. I will tell you this. If there is ever a college football version of NFL Red Zone, I will pay out the nose for it. Now, I don't know how you do that because, A, there are a lot more games going on at any given time, typically, than there are in the NFL on Sundays. And then, B, different conferences, different media agreements, et cetera. But, oh boy, yeah. Just open up the wallet, take my money.
Well, we had, when Yormark was brought in and we were running through all of the just ideas. What would be great? One of the things we talked about was a sort of studio version, red zone version of Big 12, where all the games are on, even the ones that are overlapping, and you got live cut-ins and that sort of thing. I'm with you. Sign me up. I think, that would be cool. Can I say one thing about the Thursday night?
Sure, absolutely.
The Amazon, and this was from back prior to the preseason game that you mentioned about Amazon broadcast. Of course, we got Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit tonight. Michaels left Sunday Night Football for that. Amazon offers a host of features to augment the games, including alternate broadcasts, unlimited DVR recording, and X-ray technology, providing on-screen information on players and teams. So that would be the sort of thing that I probably will peek over there to go, all right, what's all this stuff about?
Surely the X-ray stuff is not, to me, having not seen it, and hopefully it's awesome.
And believe me, that's X-ray is in quotes.
Right.
Just so we're clear.
No, it's,
not literally see-through uniforms.
But to me, that's almost like we have this technology, we don't know what to do with it. Because I can't imagine that it's going to be something that if you're a moderate to, big fan, that's going to just like blow you away, right? It might be like, hey, he played at this college, right? Or been in the league for this long, or 4 times,
right.
To me, if you want to leverage that kind of technology, you almost like mesh that with the coaches' film room stuff they do for big games on ESPN.
Love it.
Right? And
I love that, by the way.
Yeah, and you don't even need them to be on camera, and you don't even need them to be big names. You don't need them to be coaches. But like if you want to offer insight on, hey, that was a busted coverage, or this is a really cool play because this.
Mm-hmm.
I think people would eat that up, right? I mean, I think that NFL is the biggest sport in America, right?
Yep.
By far.
I'm close. Yep.
And college football is up there as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it's not number 2, it's number 3.
Mm-hmm.
And the vast, overwhelming percentage of those people that tune in every Saturday, every Sunday, Mondays, Thursdays, all days of the week, they couldn't tell you like what cover 2 means, like
right.
even on the most base level, right? They,
sure.
or like what's an X and Z receiver, like
right.
that kind of stuff.
The labeling of receivers.
They couldn't tell you that, but I think that they would love to know. Right, they would love to kind of be informed about it, even if it's just kind of in one ear, out the other. So to me, use that technology, but use it for being more informative.
They've got 15 weeks and 11 years of this deal. It's there's 80 million active Prime Video households, and there's a long time to sort of perfect this. Amazon reported last month that they expect 12.5 million viewers to tune in, which is down from where the Thursday night games were last year. The high was 20 million. The lowest watched game brought in 10 million. And they averaged 17. And so they're projecting an average of 12.
Because they have, I mean, the canvas is more or less blank for them because they're not beholden to any kind of, broadcast limitations that an ESPN or an NFL network or, pick the linear cable network is. I mean, you don't have to break for a commercial, right? You could do a 6-hour pregame show. I mean, it's the limit really is only your imagination, as corny as that sounds.
No.
And if you really want to, differentiate yourself from the rest of the market, use your advantages here.
The only one that's sort of close to that, I think, is ESPN with some of the coverage that they provide, where they've got 3 or 4 channels and they'll dedicate them all, and then you can go to Plus during, or 3, or however that's differentiated, during like a national championship football game, and the alternate feeds are over there. Like,
right.
You can watch this game with the, last year during the championship with the Alabama radio broadcast. Same video, not going to be synced up to graphics and stuff, but if you want to hear your guy, put that, there's the Georgia the Georgia radio feed over the video, all that stuff. And here's this little quote here, and this, you may get this better. You may get Twitch better than I do. Probably can think about that in a way that's more.
And for folks who don't know, Twitch is a live streaming video platform that mostly is used, or I guess supposed to be used, for streaming video games, people playing video games. Yeah. But it's also a lot of just gals in skimpy clothes sitting in like blow up inflatable pools.
There you go. Okay, the Thursday.
It's true.
Oh, I believe.
Yeah, read about it.
The Thursday Night Football digital broadcasts give brands new ways to connect with fans at scale through interactive features, Twitch, and alternate feeds. The average ad buy going for about $500,000 for a 30-second spot, as opposed to Fox's about $635,000 because of the projected fewer viewers. So I think they're even talking about a unique combination of first and third party metrics enable advertisers to engage differently with these audiences. So that's the other thing, we may see some uniqueness in terms of the way the ads are delivered because of all the streaming and Twitch.
If they try to go at this like, hey, we're just like ESPN or an NFL Network, and we're going to, take a commercial break after the kickoff and after the score, and then they're going to lose because you're not them, right? You're not. And if you try to act like them and operate under the same limitations, you will lose.
I will be curious how nimble they are, and it's a reason why I want to check it out a little bit tonight. Just to go, okay, that was cool. And perhaps, by late October, early November, we're going, whoa, that's changed in 8 weeks. They scrapped that idea. People hated it. But the feedback and all that stuff is going to be different than waiting 48 or 36 hours for a Nielsen type thing. Like, that's going to be my curiosity, is how innovative will they be with all this?
We get this thought on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Forget it. I'll just go old school and listen to the game on the radio. We'll have it for you here, beginning at 7. This on the chat line. Sorry, AD, not paying to get you. That's fine.
Wait, was that in reference to you in a skimpy bathing suit on Twitch?
Well, you don't have to pay to do that. Right? I mean, I guess you can if you subscribe to those channels, but...
you just haunted everybody.
Yeah, you can just go look over the fence if you want to see that, right?
And fun fact, Twitch is blocked here at the compound. So many other things that are, like, questionable are just fine. But I can't actually go on and show you what I'm talking about because it's verboten. More tech talk next.
It's every Red Raiders favorite podcast. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3.
Hello there. Happy Thursday. It's Tech Talk on Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com with Mike Gustafson and Clint Scott. I'm Aaron Dickens. We'd love to hear from you today on the Yates Flooring Center chat line at Double T 97.3.com. You can also access that through the Double T 97.3 mobile app presented by Happy State Bank. All guests appear via the Benchmark hotline. This on the chat line. Somebody says, so do you think sitting idle in timeouts and watching teams in timeouts and 5 to 6 hours of pregame is going to attract viewers? I think there is going to be advertisers or they're going to take a hit. I'm not saying that you're going to attract viewers with a 5 or 6 hour pregame. I'm saying that given that as a very easy to understand example.
Right.
That requires no creativity on my part of how Amazon is not limited by the same things that constrain an ESPN even, let alone an NFL network or a Fox. You're not limited by channels, right?
Linear.
You could do let's just count to a really high number. You can do a traditional broadcast, right? You can do Spanish broadcast. You could do Mandarin broadcasts, right? Just go up and down the popular, languages that are spoke here in the U.S. and abroad, okay? You could do the Chiefs radio broadcast. You could do the Chargers radio broadcast. You could do no broadcast, PA and stadium sound, all that stuff. You could do, all right, we're going to put up a camera in a sports bar in Kansas City and then one in L.A., and they're going to have the game on a big screen, and we're gonna show that, and you're gonna get their reaction the game,
cam, yeah.
Right? Coaches cam, right? Former players cam. I mean, the list goes on and on. You are the only thing you're limited by is how many of these things you want to set up, right? And I would guess that the out of pocket cost to set up something like that is relatively minimal for a company like Amazon. So that's what I mean. And so if they're just going to try to treat this like a normal TV channel situation, I think that they're going to lose because they're not really kind of leaning into their advantages. Now, do I think that folks are just going to come flock to watch Thursday Night Football on Amazon if they show just the teams talking in timeouts? No, you got to fill it with something. But I mean, what? You think they prefer commercials?
Right.
No.
They're and all of that you talked about was sort of hypotheticals. These are all the things they could do if they want to because they're not bound by linear television. They're paying $1 billion a year for this for 15 weeks of one game per week, and so. Heavy investment and that's all of that stuff that you threw out is probably within the universe of possibility.
What about a gambling broadcast? Right? You could kind of couple that with the X-ray technology that they've kind of touted in their release. Hey, that catch or that throw by Patrick Mahomes puts him over on the day for the prop bet of completed passes of 12.5 or whatever. You could interview managers at sports books. You could do live cut-ins at sports books, right? Okay, we'll go live to the MGM Grand. Moments ago, this was the reaction of the sports book to that touchdown pass. That great catch by Travis Kelce or whatever. I mean, again, it's not, you're not limited by anything here.
And I'll be curious about this because I think this will be something that, I mean, they may have thought of a bunch of this. They may have said, hey, they could either go crazy with first impressions or, hey, let's get this first broadcast under our belt. Sure. Later on this month, let's add Gambler Cam and Pylon Cam and, all the alternate broadcasts and all that stuff, radio things. I mean, I was fascinated by the radio feed thing last year because I was going, you know what? Think about ESPN Plus 2 weeks ago, 12 days ago, and the reaction you and I received just in here on Monday. if there was a way to go, I'm gonna, and what the way is you mute that and you turn up Jensen and Harris, right? To get it localized. But if you could, there'd be people that would want that for Texas Tech, much less X-ray cam and all these type things. But you could totally see somebody in the Kansas City market going, I want to watch that thing, but I want to hear my guys.
Because the obstacle here, or maybe not obstacle, but what you'll have to fight, right, if you're Amazon here, is that Amazon doesn't have any experience putting on this kind of broadcast. And so who are they hiring, right? Who are they filling out their staff to do all this stuff with? They're hiring folks that used to work at ESPN or NFL Network or Fox or, whatever, CBS. And so you are importing kind of conventional, traditional mindsets into this space where you can throw convention out the window. And so it will really take some kind of forward thinking here, I think, for them to really bust out of that box and really take advantage of what they have. And I'm sure that listen, I'm not saying that I'm some expert here. I throw out very kind of obvious,
possibilities.
Yeah, bare bones deals. But there's an idea out there. I don't have it. There's an idea out there that would take this to the next level. I don't know what it is, and we might not find it out this year or ever. But there's an idea out there that will take this broadcast and more specifically streaming broadcasts of live sporting events to the stratosphere.
And they've obviously gone big. And you were talking about production people. I would have dove into somebody from ESPN that was familiar with the coach deal, all those things that they do at the college football championship game, because to me that's where they flex their muscles with their streaming alternatives and really putting that across the entire platform. ESPN has the championship game, ESPN2 has something, usually has the coaches deal, which my wife has no interest in that. She'll follow a football game, but when I go over to that, she's like, I ain't gonna burn. I'm like, all right, let me go over here. But I love sitting there watching those college coaches reacting to what they're seeing, just what you're saying. Oh, they're in cover two. You can see he's trying to disguise this coverage, and I would do that for baseball and probably a lot of other stuff too. But if I were Amazon, I would have dove into somebody like that to go, hey, we need one of those people that were part of that to siphon that out, tell us what worked, what they thought didn't work, and let's flex our muscles on being creative.
Robert predicts that the Chargers will win tonight 21-17. Somebody else says this: I doubt that score. The Chiefs may lose, but that score is way too low. Chiefs score 28+, win or lose. This on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Caden Cross was on a sports betting commercial a couple of years back. Talented for sure. Are you a fan of her earlier catalog, Gus, or more of her later work?
I honestly don't know any. I have no idea.
The podcast that finishes your workday in a very Red Raider way. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3.
We were talking about, and we have been talking about, this Thursday night game between the Chiefs and the Chargers. First of 15 broadcasts that are, being aired or broadcast this season on Amazon Prime for NFL. And, we've been talking about how they kind of have this blank canvas with which to work. And they aren't really constricted by or constrained by the rules that have governed broadcast TV for the last 80 years in terms of commercial breaks, and you're limited by the number of channels that you have available on these different, cable services or over the air, through an antenna. And you brought up Twitch earlier.
To be clear, I was reading that, but
sure,
yes.
yeah, but you brought it up.
Wouldn't have been on the top of my mind.
And I think that people, especially that are, I'm going to be charitable here, people that are my age and older, I'm 38. I think as you get further past my age group, the awareness of Twitch begins to diminish. I'm guessing that if you polled 100 people that are your age, Gus, some of them might have heard of Twitch, but I would guess the vast majority not really familiar with what it is, have never been there or checked it out, whatever.
Yeah, my only familiarity with it was exactly what you said. Familiar with it, I know that it's somehow used in a lot of people watch it to either watch people play video games. That part I don't necessarily understand, but almost like a coaching type thing. Like, I can go on there and watch the best players at this video game instruct people how to play, or here's how I beat level 3 or whatever. All right, and so that's truly my understanding of it. And so you put more layers onto it than that.
Yeah, so I mean, video games are a big part of it, but it has kind of evolved to where, you know, many of the most popular kind of channels or content creators on that platform, they don't play games, really. They just kind of sit there and talk, right? It's
Really?
kind of like a
Okay.
personal chat show, and then, you know, invariably you have I'm going to wear a bikini because I'm, you know, good-looking gal, and I'm going to do, yeah, I'm going to hang out in this inflatable swimming pool in my room. You know, like, it's a spectrum of things. And I bring this up because it's hugely popular. People, I think, again, my age and then older, don't realize how big this is for people that are my age or younger.
Okay.
And I think that popularity is just growing. And I bring this up because, Gus, do you know who owns Twitch?
No, I don't.
Amazon.
Is that right?
Amazon owns Twitch.
Oh,
and
my.
so, you know, they have this built-in platform, right? They have, and these, I'm not going to get too deep into it, but like the most popular people on that platform have contracts with Twitch. They're partners, right? And so they get a cut of their subscriptions, of the ads that play during their videos. I mean, all kinds. I mean, they make a lot of money through this platform, and they are contracted with Twitch, i.e., Amazon.com. What would stop Amazon from saying, "Hey, Asmongold, Amaranth, you know, Ninja," although I think he's off of Twitch
And these are
now.
people?
These are people. Yes. I want you to watch this game. Right? Pull it up on your computer, show it to people. Sit there with your camera on and just watch the game with us. Commentate, react, because they do a lot of that anyways. Like they'll hey, check out this YouTube video and react to it, and they do that for hours and hours. I don't know. That's an option, I would think. Like why wouldn't you do that? You have this kind of built-in.
Sure. What are there? Give me a parallel for what Twitch is. Would it be like a Facebook Live? Something like that? I'm sure Twitch is up here and Facebook Live is down here, but is that an old people analogy for?
No, it's live YouTube.
Okay.
Right? It's a video
Which I think
platform.
is like Facebook Live,
Sure.
really.
Yeah,
Same
it's a video platform through which people share their screens, share their cameras,
Got it.
play video games, react to things, talk about things, you know, do squats in bikinis. I mean, it's yeah. So we get this in the Yates Flooring.
Wait a second. Did you say squats and bikinis?
From T Money 806. AD, how do you find the scantily clad females on Twitch asking for a friend? You don't have to go far. I mean, if you just go to twitch.tv, odds are at any given point in time, right, one of the more popular streams is going to be someone like that.
Really?
Yeah.
And she wouldn't even be talking?
No, I mean, yeah, you can mute it if you want to.
I didn't know, it's just like going through some calculations or anything, or just.
And it's not going to make you feel good about the future society, by the
Right.
way,
There
reading
you
through
go.
that chat.
There you go.
But and it's not pornographic.
I know. But you said scantily
Yeah,
clad, yeah.
right.
So, but the real key there is one of these guys. One of the very first days I was on here, we took, because we've got a drop about me going, Ariana Grande, she sings, she acts. We were talking about TikTok. The person with the hugest following had just gotten passed by someone else, two people we'd never heard of. In the same way, you're telling me there are Twitch tent poles, if you will, whatever, that are young people, 20-somethings, that go on there, and lots of people, it probably pops up on their phone when this person gets on there, because when he or she is on there, they talk about stuff that I want to talk about, right? I mean, people who are interested in there, oh, hey, look, as opposed to a tweet or a TikTok or something that lives out there. So when they put the Twitch stuff on there live, does it then like, can I go back and watch your Twitch thing from yesterday, or is it?
Yeah, if you have, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, yeah, got it. So if all right, interesting. Yeah, as it relates to this football game tonight, limitless possibilities. I'm really curious to see how much of a flex Amazon makes, and I'll be honest, I don't think that they come out and just throw a million things at the wall tonight.
Yeah, no, me neither.
I think that they're probably lean heavily on, hey, see that guy right there? That's Al Michaels. You know, that's one of the mainstays in sports broadcasting, and we didn't bring him over here to trick this thing up a whole lot. So right out of the gate, probably a whole lot more interested in Al Michaels talking about Patrick Mahomes and a pretty good NFL matchup. But boy, down the line, there's a lot of room for possibilities there. Things like the Manning brothers come to mind. Be interesting.
And I wish I could show you some examples of what I'm talking about, because that would be so much more helpful, but I can't because it's blocked, which is
that's
infuriating. More Tech Talk next.
Disconnect from.
The podcast put together with Red Raider fans in mind. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3.
Hi, how are you? Good afternoon. It's Tech Talk on Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com with Mike Gustafson and Clint Scott. I'm Aaron Dickens. We're joining you today until 6 o'clock. Would love to hear your thoughts and comments on the Yates Flooring Center chat line at Double T 97.3.com or through the Double T 97.3 mobile app presented by Happy State Bank. This person says, Gus, didn't know much about you before you joined the show, but you keep dropping information that makes me want to have a beer with you.
Well, all right.
Somebody else says, wealth of broad info, great host.
Thank you.
This on the Yates.
Mostly limited to baseball in the past. I've had to spread my wings a little bit.
Raiders dad says, I think VR options for certain sports on the stadium or field would be awesome.
Yes.
And you got to think that's coming too. You know? I mean, I have an Oculus. I don't use it a whole lot. I've watched a movie with it just to kind of see what that was like. It really wasn't for me. I didn't see really any advantage to that. But, like, the games are really cool. They're only getting better. And, you know, I would think from a sports standpoint, that would make me dust it off, right? It's on a bookshelf in my office. I probably haven't turned it on in, 6 months, right? But if you tell me that Amazon has a VR experience, and there's an Amazon Prime app, right, on the Oculus Marketplace or whatever, and you can watch any Amazon Prime movie in VR. Now, it's just, I guess, you sitting in a virtual theater, so it's not much different than just watching it on television. But, I mean, they have that infrastructure in place, I would guess. But, yeah, to where you kind of put me in the stadium, right, with the game going on, man, I'm there.
That's really cool. I saw, and it's dated now, probably 2017. In working on some ideas for College Baseball Hall of Fame, touring Dimensional Innovations based in suburban Kansas City. It was some things that they were working on, because they were at the time they've done a lot of stuff. I think they've got some involvement. Of course, anyway, one of the things, the only time I've ever put on VR I start to say headphones, but the VR mask. Well, yeah, what are those?
Yeah, headset.
Headset. There you go. VR headset. There was 3 things. I can't remember the third. I think the second was a NASCAR type experience. The main one I remember was, because this was the one that was really relatable for some of the things we were kicking around, but it actually, and it's sort of relatable to our listeners, the Fall Gallery. Of course, it's right down the road from them. And so they were like, hey, go experiment. Kansas has a game tonight. Probably during one of their little scrimmages or something, they basically ran out the tunnel with the team to the screaming of the fans, the band playing, and then went through their layup lines. And the VR camera thing basically allowed us to run out there with them. You even get to do a layup, that you could stand there as the song played and the band was going nuts and turn around and see the whole deal.
So you were kind of on a rail. It was like you're on a Disney ride where the path was predetermined.
Yeah, the path kind of ended up at half court. But you could still
look around.
Yeah, we more or less stood at half court behind Kansas doing the layup lines, and you could turn around. The other team was back here behind us. Mm-hmm. Hear the school song, blah blah blah. And so I'm thinking, if you were going to do, I mean, what would be the Texas Tech parallel to that? Like, that would be pretty cool for some folks, would be to get that VR cam. And the way that they showed us a VR cam, think of our helmet here on the desk. That thing's got a bunch of cameras on it, like all around,
mm-hmm.
like a million. What's the camera that you wear when you go like jumping off?
Oh,
cliffs?
GoPro.
Yeah, like 30 GoPros, and it's not a GoPro, but all around this thing like a global thing. And go stand at the 50-yard line near where the horse runs by and the team comes running out. And if you could stand there and get all of that, absorb all of that, and turn around and look at the crowds and watch the horse run by and all, that would be pretty dang cool. Because think about it, most of us, and I got to do it 30 years ago, been a long time, but most of us don't get to experience the horse on the field, the team running out. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's sort of what you can capture with that thing. That, and we're sort of derailed, but really, really an interesting thing. But to be able to absorb that game in a way that you could, somehow stand at the 50-yard line or have a nice 50-yard seat.
It's the best of both worlds.
Yes.
And I think this is coming, by the way. I don't think it's coming anytime like in the next 2 or 3 years.
Right, not in November.
But I expect to see that certainly within my lifetime. I'm talking 10, 15 years at the most. It combines the best of both worlds, right? You're there at the game, sort of virtually. Right. You get to experience or at least witness. Maybe experience isn't the right word. You get to witness mm-hmm. the atmosphere firsthand. You get to witness all of the pomp and circumstance and the in-game production. And yet, if you need to go to the bathroom, you just take your headset off and walk down the hall, mm-hmm. right? And you drink your own beer, eat your own snacks. If you want to, leave, you don't have to go to a parking lot and navigate traffic. Now, that's not great for like a sports bar scenario, or a watch party. I mean, it's very it's at home only, but anyway.
It's right up your alley as a guy who, really talked about this. I'm not taking a shot, but like you're a do that thing by yourself. You're perfectly comfortable,
How dare you? How dare you?
Consuming this football by, but right up your alley in terms of guy that you're
extroverted person alive, Gus. What are you talking about? T-Money 806 says this. 80, you sold me girls in bikinis in a pool in her room watching the Chiefs game tonight, talking about the game and squats. I'm sold. Bikini squats, weed strain. This on the chat line.
Oh, Clint, he beat you to that one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
From Raiders' dad. Think of being able to watch from the field or the sideline the Crabtree catch or Welker returns. Bobby Hot Dog says this. Twitch is blocked by the Raymar firewall because you guys employ folks like Clint.
That's true. Probably true. Sorry, guys. It's my fault.
You don't go to Twitch on a regular basis.
No,
never.
I just needed a 30.
I do.
I just needed a 40-minute explanation of it, so I don't think I'm the culprit
Yeah, and
here.
it's infuriating that I can't, like, because I feel like if I was able to show you some stuff,
Yeah.
you would have this kind of broader appreciation or understanding, maybe.
Well, and I'm really mostly interested in it for the application to some of the stuff we're kicking around here.
This on the chat line from Raiders Dad.
And the girl in the bikini.
Being able to be in the tunnel with the team coming out, or hell, like,
Yes.
I mean, what about in the locker room for the pregame speech?
Oh, dude.
You know, and even if it's not like before, right, or live, if that's an option, instead of the cinematic recap, right, that they release on Tuesdays or Wednesdays after the games, Texas Tech,
Right.
why don't you just do the pregame, provided that, you know, it's safe for work and all that stuff. This in the chat line from Raiders Dad, pretty morbid that 80 specified his lifetime, not their lifetime shots fired. No, it's not like that. So anyway, I did not expect to talk a lot about Twitch today, but I think, you know.
Yeah, the segue, if you're just tuning in, was about all of the different ideas that could complement the Amazon broadcast of Thursday Night Football tonight, the Chiefs and the Chargers, because if you're, you know, that's the only way to get these games now, these Thursday night games, Amazon Prime.
Because there are people out there on a fairly regular basis that will, you know, every weekday or 4 times a week, whatever their schedule is, they'll sit in their office, fire up their computer, turn on their camera, and 50,000 people will be watching them, right? And some percentage of those folks are paying a monthly subscription fee for really no added benefits. You could watch this stuff for free anyways, and that's not going away.
Golly, that's crazy.
You know, like Bonus Kid, he's 11 years old.
So not yet into
And-
the girl in the bikini.
No.
Not that we know
like
of.
he doesn't watch TV. Like when I was his age, it was cartoons.
Sure.
Right? It was Airwolf, it was Star Trek The Next Generation. I was watching
Every
television.
sports game I could get.
I could not tell you the last time that he sat down and watched anything on what we know as TV.
Really?
He'll watch a Netflix thing every now and then.
Sure.
But it's been years. But he'll inhale YouTube stuff. Inhale it.
You've been listening to the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3. Check out Double T973.com for more from Lubbock Sports Station.